Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of week 4. This week we are going to look at different object data types and then we're going to look at their method. In this lesson we are going to look at arrays. We're going to learn what an array is, how to create an array, and also we are going to look at the different methods that we can use to work with arrays in JavaScript. Now, an array is a type of object that we can use to store multiple values in a single variable. Let's say we have a variable called fruits, for instance. Now, it is common to see an array defined with the const keyword. You can use the let, but once it's an object, most of the time you will find it defined with the const keyword. And so let's say we want to get fruit, so we'll say const fruit is equal to a pair of square brackets, and then you put the elements of the array, which are different items in the array, as a comma separated list. These items will keep to the rules of the data types of the values. So let's say I want to have apples. This is a string, so it will be quoted. So I'll say apple, banana, and then I want orange. So this is an array in JavaScript. For those of you who have taken the Python course, you'll see that this is same thing as a list in Python. So we have this, and let's say we want to get an item from this array. Indexing starts at 0. So the first item is at index position 0, the next is at 1, and the next is at 2. So when we get the length of this array, we're going to get 3, but the last index position is 2. We use the length property to return the length of an array of a variable in JavaScript. So let's say console.log, we want to get let's say the banana, so it's item at index position 1, so 0, 1. So console.log, we want to write the name of the variable that holds the array, and then a pair of square brackets, and you put the index position 1 like this. And let's say we want to also get the length, so let's say console.log, and we want to get the length of the fruit, use like fruit.length. So when we go to our console, we're going to see that banana is printed, the length is 3. When we want to see the data type, we use the type of operator to get that. We've seen that when we looked at the different data type. Okay, so we use a type of operator to return the data type of a variable or of values. So let's say we have numbers. Let's say you can use the length or const. I'll use const most of the time, but just if you see let is still correct. It's just a convention that when we have any kind of object data types like array states, we always want to declare them with the const keyword. It's not a constant, it's just a type of declaration. Okay, so let's say we have 10, 20, 30 for instance, and we want to get the length of this item. We use the nums.length. okay, we'll get it. But there are several methods of this array. This array has 3 elements, 10, 20, and 30. We want to add elements to the end of this array. So let's say we want to add like the number 3 or something. We use the push method to do that. So let's say nums.push, and then we'll put what we want to push there. We'll push the number 3 there. So we're adding 3 to the end of the array. And when we put console.log nums, we're going to see that we'll have 10, 20, 30, and 3 when we go to our console. If we want to remove the last element, we use the pop method. So we can say nums.pop. So we push 3, let's pop here, nums.pop, and we're going to pop the last item. So even if we push 3, we won't find that 3 because we push 3 here and we pop out, so it's going to be out of it. So when we refresh, we don't have it because we pushed and pop same time, and pop removes the last element of the array. So if we want to add elements to the beginning, so what we did now, we added to the end with the push. We use another method, and this method is called unshift, like this. So when we say nums.unshift, we now have 3 added to the beginning of the array. When I save this and I go to my console, we'll get 3 added at the beginning. When you use the unshift, it's going to add 3, and we use pop here, it removes the 30. When we remove this, you will see it clearly here. So we have 3, 10, 20, 30. And when you want to remove the first element, so instead of pop, we use shift. So if I say nums.shift without anything in the parentheses, it's going to remove 10, and so we'll have 20 and 30. So the push and the unshift does the same thing. Push adds to the end, unshift adds to the beginning. The pop removes from the end, the shift removes from the first. When we want to search or find the index of the first occurrence of an element in an array, we use the index of. So we have, let's say, this array. So I want to get nums. So let's say console.log. Let's do it like this. We want to get nums.index of here, and we want to say what we are looking for. So let's say index of 20, and index of 20 is 1, and so you should print out 1 there. If you want to get the last occurrence of something. So let's say they have duplicates now. So let's have another 20 here, and let's have another 10 here, and we want to get the last occurrence of 20. So instead of 1 now, we'll put last index of, so write last, and it's camel case, so the I will be in upper case there. So last index of 20. So now it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. And so now we'll have the last index of 20 will now be 3. When we want to iterate through an array, there are functions we can use to check this. Let's say if we want to check if a value exists first. So let's say we want to see if 20 exists, for instance. So we want to say, does it include? So we'll say dot includes, and we want to check if 20 includes, it will return true or false fully, and if 20 is there, true, and if 20 is not there, false. So 50 is not there, let's put 50, and this will return false. So we want to look at iteration methods. We have the for each method, and we say this method runs a function on each element of an array. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, for instance. So let's do it like this. We have an array that is 1, 2, 3, and it has 3 items here, 1, 2, and 3, and we want to use the for each method. This method is going to run a function on each element. So let's say, for instance, we want to multiply by 2. So let's say for each num, okay, for each num, let's say console.log, and let's say num multiply by 2. So we are looping through each item, and for each of the item we want to say that item multiply by 2. So we are running a function here. Let's see if it does that. So instead of 1, 2, 3, we'll have 2, 4, 6. I think that should be what we'll get. Yeah, we'll get 2, 4, 6. So it loops through and it does that. We can actually use the map method to create a new array when it applies a function. Let's use the map method and see how it does this. Let's say let doubled, let's call this double, be equal to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we want to run the map method here. So we'll say 1, 2, 3 dot map, and then in a pair of parentheses we want to apply the function. So let's say num, and we want to say num multiply by 2. So what we are doing now is we are like running a function. We're using the map method to run a function to apply this to this. And so when we say console.log double, so it's just like the for each, but we use the map function instead. So it will do that 2, 4, 6. So what this does is returns a new array with results. We have another method that we use with arrays, and this is the filter method, and it returns also a new array with elements that passes a condition. Okay, so when we use a filter, we have a condition, and if any element passes that condition, it returns a new array with it. So for instance, let's say we want to get even numbers, so that will be a best one. So let's say we get even, so let's even be equal to, so we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's make it, and we want to use the filter method. Okay, so this will apply a function, and we want to say num and num modulo 2. So for even number, anything modulo 2 for even will return 0, right? So that will be even number. So we'll say let even, and when we log here, we log even. Okay, so you see this is the short method than the loop, but we have methods that run this. So we use filter, and it returns even 2, 4, 6, because those are the even numbers we have here. So if we want to reduce an array to a single value, let's say we want to get the sum, we want to reduce to a single value, we can use the reduce method, and we'll use it like this. We have this, and we'll say, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 dot reduce, and let's say we want to reduce this to, so we'll say reduce in a pair of parentheses, we'll say a b, and this is going to be a plus b 0, like this. So what this does is, when we, let's change this to sum, when we log this to the console, it is going to add this, and then it is going to return the total. So we'll have 4 plus 3, 7, 9, 10. So we should get 10 here when we reduce this to a single value here. So we have 10. Okay, so we have other methods. If you refer to your lesson resource, you're going to see these methods and examples that you can go with, but you have an idea on how we apply this method to the array in JavaScript. So you also have methods that you can use to merge two arrays. The concat method, we have the slice method that you can use to return a portion of an array. We have the splice that adds or removes elements and modifies the original actually, but the slice does not modify the original, it just returns a portion of an array. And then we have other methods we use to order, like the sort method that we use to sort in lexical order for strings or sending or descending order for numeric values. Right? And then we have the reverse that reverses the array also. Alright, so when you have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, if you reverse it, it will be 4, 3, 2, 1. So look at your lesson resource and look at these methods. They're applied in the same way. We have other methods we use to convert, like we call them conversion methods. We have the join method to join element into a string. This is an interesting one. I'll give you an example of the join method. So let's say let's do it like this, console.log. Let's say we have an array here, and this array consists of, so we have an array ABC, and we want to separate them with a hyphen. So you want to join this array, so you just use .join, and then in the pair of parentheses you put the hyphen like that. And so when you come to the console, it is going to print out, this will be quoted, sorry, it is going to print out A-B-C, because that is what we have given it. Alright, so you can convert it to a string by using this toString method. You can say this dot toString like this, and then when you refresh, it's going to just print it out as a string instead of as an array. And then you want to flatten a nested array. If you have an array that is nested, you can use .flat to flatten. If you have an array that you want to apply the map function to, you can use flat map, which will map and flatten the result. So you refer to your lesson resource. And in recap, what we have learned about array is that it's an ordered collection indexed from 0. It has mutator methods that changes the original, like the push, shift, pop, unshift, alright, splice, sort, and reverse methods. We have what we call the accessor methods that don't change the original, like the slice, the concat, the join, the index of, and also the includes. And then we have the iteration method that we use to iterate through and either find something or do something, like the map, the filter, the reduce, for each, sum, every, find, and all of that. So this is where we end this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to look at date and then date methods in JavaScript. Thank you, and see you in the next lesson.